You are listening to Revealing Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into getting over your fear of taking risk in real estate and making money while you sleep. I'm Nico Pedizano, your host and real estate guru with over 20 years of experience. It's time to get real.
Welcome to another episode of Revealing Real Estate with your favorite host, Nico Pedizano. This episode is a bit different than our other episodes as we put the CEO of A12 Mortgage, Gary Fooks, in the hot seat to discuss their co-equity program and how it will transform renters into becoming homeowners.
Co-equity, shared equity, those words are kind of interchangeable. That concept is very common in the US over the past decade, Australia, but it's very new to Canada. CMHC came out with a program not too long ago, very limited in what the offering was. It really didn't move the needle for people that needed, more down payment to get into home ownership. So these programs are starting to come into the market more prevalently. We're the first brokerage in Canada to be able to get a mortgage product to service this specific program, and very excited to announce it and discuss it with you. So A12 itself is not the co-equity partner. There's a company out there now that is the co-equity partner, and there's more companies coming into the space that we're helping to bring to market. What A12 does is they find these companies who are willing to be the co-equity partner and help people come up with the delta to get to 20%. So high level, the way the program works is you as the potential purchaser do not have the full 20% to make a down payment. Right. So you have to have anywhere from 5 up to 15% and anywhere along that scale. And then this co-equity partner will come in and provide the difference to get to 20. And then we're the first mortgage brokerage in Canada that actually has the mortgage product for the remaining 80% to help you close that purchase transaction. The purchaser is the only one on title. So let's use a quick example of $1 million, which today is not it's an average spend for a property, especially in the GTA. You need 20%. That's the rules. That's the mortgage rules in Canada. You cannot buy $1 million home today with less than 20% down, but you don't have 20%. So you may be a good income earner, but you haven't saved up enough money, but you have $100,000 as your example. So what this co-equity partner would do is they would come in as a partner with the other $100,000 to make that full 20%. We would then come in and provide the mortgage for the $800,000 that you need to close the transaction. So because that co-equity partner came in with the other 50% of the down payment, they now share in 50% of the upside of that property.
Right.
So you're 50-50 owners in the upside, but you as the home purchaser are the only person on title. You own the property. You're making the mortgage payments. You live in that home. There's no limit on how long you have to hold on to it for, but that is a 10-year agreement. So you have to then buy out that co-equity partner within 10 years. And there's obviously several ways to make that happen. 61% of Canadians that buy their first home typically, as you know, Nick, make a change within the first 5 years. So in that exact example, you would list the property, you'd sell it for fair market value on the MLS, and obviously you use the OP team to sell it, right?
Yeah, of course.
And whatever the appreciation was of that gain, you would split it 50-50 with a co-equity partner. And then you would also get back the mortgage principal payments, which is a big one, right? So you've been paying the mortgage every month for that 5 years. All that money that went down towards paying the mortgage, you actually get that back. The co-equity partner does not share in that. It's as if, somebody helped you get into that home. You're paying to maintain and live in that home as you normally would. They're just benefiting in the upside because they helped you get in the first place. If you think about it, I'll give you an interesting stat that I saw. If you're a $200,000 family income earner here in Toronto or in Canada right now, and you're saving 10% of your annual household income for that 20% down payment, it's going to take you 28 years to come up with $200,000, right? After taxes, right? And so 28 years from now, we might be living on Mars with the way things are going. So it might be a whole different ballgame.
It could be a whole different ballgame.
But let's assume everything is the same. That's a long time, right? 20 years of renting, that's money out the window that you never get back. So this is a game changer, right? So this is ideal for those people that are looking to get into their first home. They can debt service the mortgage. They have a good income. They can make those payments. They qualify. They just don't have the bank of mom and dad to help them. And that's 31% of Canadians today. They don't have that bank of mom and dad to help them get into that first home. Yeah, we've done over 30 transactions in the last 3 months. I mean, this program's on fire. The demand is out the door. And what's interesting is if you do the math, right? And Nick, you know this intimately. If you bought a house kind of at somewhat near the highs back in January, February, March, and rates were dramatically lower, and you took that same house at arguably a 20 or 25% discount today,
correct,
with rates being dramatically higher,
yeah,
you actually end up paying less over the 30 or 25 years of amortization for that home today than you would if you bought it 3-4 months ago, even though rates were lower. So look, this program, as it's launching in its early days, is designed for people that are going to be purchasing that home as their principal residence. There is discussions to eventually open it up to the investor community, and I do believe there's a need for that, and that will happen. But the goal right now is let's help those Canadians who, don't want to rent and throw that money away every year in rent. Let's get them into their first home. That being said, you are going to have certain clients that, let's say, own a condo. They bought a condo and they need to upsize their family. So you can purchase a house as your principal residence and still keep your condo, right? So the idea generally in the mortgage world is if you're upsizing into a larger property, that could be your principal residence. You can't downsize. That wouldn't make sense.
Yep.
So this is where people have a property, they built up equity. And as you said, I do also agree that building generational wealth through real estate is one of the best and safest ways to do that in Canada. So this is where if you have people that have an existing property, a condo, a smaller house, can upsize to a larger property and still keep that other property as investment property and generate income. Yeah, so I don't think there's an issue right now if you were to rent out your basement just to have some additional income, as long as you're not renting out the property itself, right? As long as you are treating it as a personal residence, as a principal residence, which many times does happen. You have people that buy a house with with a secluded downstairs unit, right? Enclosed downstairs unit, separate entrance. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Just you wouldn't want to rent out the house itself. You rent a condo for $3,000 a month, right? Use that 5-year example that you used before. You rent a condo for $3,000 a month. It's $36,000 for a year. It's $180,000 for 5 years. So 5 years, you spend $180,000, out the window for
out
rent,
the window. You're burning it. You're burning the money, basically.
Now let's kind of move that over. If you were to use this program, right, and you were to pay $3,000 a month in a mortgage, even if a third of that $3,000 a month is going towards principal, it's $12,000 a year. It's $60,000 in 5 years. That's back in your pocket. So you went from throwing away $180,000 in rent to keeping $60,000. That's almost $250,000 swing.
Yeah,
right?
That's huge.
So even if the property didn't appreciate in 5 years, your swing is still $240,000 upside back in your pocket, which I think is massive. It's always great when you talk about rainbows and everything's amazing. But what happens when it's not amazing?
Yes.
Our debt to income levels in Canada go up about 10% a year. 2 years ago, they were $1.71 for every dollar of disposable income. Last year, $1.86. They're expected to go over $2. So some people do struggle. So it's a valid question. Here's the thing. You're not responsible for any downside, right? So if you use that same $1 million property and you bought it for $1 million and a year goes by, it's now 800, which I don't think it will be, but anything's possible.
Yes.
Yep. If you have to sell, you're not on the hook for whatever that co-equity partner, brought into the equation. You're only on the hook for your down payment. So that property then sold for $800,000. You wouldn't owe any additional money to that co-equity partner. Remember, it's not a loan. There's no interest payments. You're not on the hook for anything else. It would just be an unfortunate situation, and you walk away from your down payment, which you would have had to do anyways. So the co-equity partner, what they have is they have the right of first refusal.
Because I just want to understand their position,
that's
right?
It. They have the right of first refusal.
Yeah.
So if you're going to sell the property and you're trying to sell it for less than what it's really worth, then they have the right to buy it, right? If you're going to, both on the downside or the upside, right?
Of course.
So if you're going to sell the property, if the property 5 years from now is worth 1.5 million, you want to sell it to a friend at 1.3, well, they're going to have the right to buy it at 1.3. I mean, that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's really the only quote unquote, I wouldn't even call it a hook. I mean, they have the right of first refusal as any partner would in any kind of relationship. in any kind of investment structure, you're going to have, expected credit loss, right? It's part of the equation. I mean, the banks do it. Any investment vehicle has it. So, there's going to be times where they do also walk away from the property, and it's unfortunate, but again, it's part of the investment strategy. Right now, with the current program that's out there, there is no additional benefit if you spend your own money on renovations. You would do that if you just want to, have a nicer way to live in that property, or it achieves more of your dreams. There are other programs that are coming to market where there will be some delta for any money that you invest in the property, because naturally both partners are benefiting from that investment and that renovation. Yeah. But currently it's not there, but there are other programs that are coming to market where that will happen. So I would say right now that based on that, maybe focus on a property that's kind of up to your living standards today, and don't look for kind of something that you're going to have to spend money on, because you're not going to get the full upswing of that expense. The co-equity partner will also share in their portion of the land transfer tax on closing. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Which today is not a small number. Right?
Yeah. It's not.
Could be $20,000, $30,000.
Well, if you're in Toronto, you're probably averaging around 3% of that purchase price.
Yeah, so $1 million.
In a 905, you're about 1.5.
Yeah. So $1 million, 20 to 30 grand.
20 to 30 grand. Yeah.
Right. So that they contribute their share of that.
Legals?
Not legals, just the land transfer tax. Right?
Just land transfer tax.
Because you would still have to pay your own legals for closing costs. So I mean, that would be a cost that you incur regularly anyways. But the land transfer tax is a big one, right? And aside from that, that's it. I mean, there's really there's no hooks, there's no catches. The biggest thing I hear from people is, well, I don't really want to have someone own the property with me, but my answer to that is 100% of zero is zero. So if you can't qualify on your own for that purchase and you're not going to own a property anyways, I mean, this is the next best thing. But outside of that, what you see is what you get. The only minimums are the purchase prices. So right now it's about $550,000 to about $2.5 million. You got to buy something in that range.
Oh wow!
Right.
So that's a big range. Yeah. Range, nowadays, right? Yeah,
it's a good range.
That $2 million was the $3 million, right? So.
Right. Exactly. So aside from that, the only other thing is you have to qualify for the mortgage, and that's traditional, mortgage qualification rules. Look, high level, I would give you a high level number of 5 to 1, meaning whatever your household income is, multiply that by 5, and that's generally what the mortgage amount you're going to qualify for. And obviously there's, those numbers can go up and down, depend on your personal situation, but it's a good rough number to start with. So if you kind of have those two, 550,000 purchase price up to 2.5 million, household income multiplied by 5, that's the mortgage amount. That'll give you a good starting point to see if this is something that's good for you. And then, come on over to 812, we'll get you pre-approved, we'll get you pre-qualified, and then, make sure that you go shopping, with the right number in mind. I mean, credit will impact your rate, right? So the other benefit about this program is currently we have this product, the mortgage product, on the Alt-A side of the mortgage industry. So what that means is we can actually cater to people that don't have traditional income, that have slightly less than, excellent credit. A good example is contractors, right? So when you're a contractor, generally what you earn and what you declare on your tax returns isn't the same, right? Because you have a lot of write-offs, which you should do, you should do. You should take advantage of tax laws and write off that extra income. But with the Alt-A product in the mortgage space, we can actually use your gross business income as your qualifying income, as opposed to what you qualify on your tax return, which opens up the door for exponentially more people to get into this program, which I think is a massive advantage. Yeah. So again, as long as you're buying the home for a principal residence, yeah, absolutely. 812.mortgage. So 812.mortgage is the ending. It's not .com or .ca. .mortgage, that is the ending. And we have an apply now button. We have information about the program on there. Message us, reach out to us, call us. Happy to assist you with any of your mortgage financing needs, especially this program. We're on the front lines of digitization in the mortgage space. Yeah. We've always been a tech-first company. COVID kind of enhanced that, unfortunately, but fortunately, right?
Yeah.
So again, we have a team of 40, dedicated people at the office ready to service you in real time. So, don't have to feel like you can only do it online. Obviously, online to get started, and then we come in and have those discussions with you. But we're like your Uber, your Skip the Dishes. We live in an on-demand society. We provide on-demand advice, and happy to take those initial requests online and then jump on a call or a Zoom or whatever it takes to help them get that deal done.
Looking to buy or sell? Call a team you can trust. Don't believe me? Our Google reviews say it all. Put us on your lawn, your house will be gone. TheOPteam.com.